Hey gang, Bill Caskey here, 8 a.m. It's time for live. We're doing this all the way through March. And guess what? Today is the last day of March. So the big decision is, do we continue? And the answer is, of course we continue. We're going to do this for the month of April. Then we'll take a look and see what kind of response we get. I am encouraged by your emails and your questions. And I've got actually today's episode, we're going to do some Q&A from some of the messages and emails that I've gotten from you. So I'm really glad you're here. My name is Bill Caskey. I probably need no introduction. Maybe I do. Wrote a book called Same Game, New Rules a few years ago, actually 20 years ago. It's in dire need of getting updated. Probably 90% of it's evergreen. It's still relevant, but there's some things that we need to change in it. Also, I want to offer you something today, and I want to offer it to you in a kind of a weird way. We wrote something called 5 Reasons You Don't Have Enough Clients. The down below there is the website. Go to 5reasonsclients.com. Go there to download this, but also go there to copy what we have done on that page, because here are the numbers on that page since we started from a little bit before when we started doing this live here March 1st. We've had 700 downloads of this document. I'm sorry, we've had 700 visitors to the website and 350 downloads and several clients from that. So you remember here a few days ago, we were talking about your marketing funnel. How do you get people interested in what it is you do and start to give them value and start to develop some kind of a digital relationship, if nothing else? We've had a 50% conversion rate on that page. So that page is working. Now, I know some of you are like, conversion rate, what the hell are you talking about? Aren't you talking about closing rate? No, I'm talking about when someone goes to a web page to look at something because they've been guided there, what action do they take? And 50% of the time, people download this document. So look at it. It's a very simple site. I mean, literally, it took Travis in our office. He does all of our videography and all of our web stuff. Took him probably an hour to build. I don't know, maybe not that much. Or maybe it took 100 hours and it just seemed to get done quickly. But anyway, look at that. Check that out because that's really important. And also download the document too, 5 Reasons. So last day, we'll keep going next week. Bill Caskey podcast this week was about if you were to sell your territory, your space, if you were to sell what it is you do, if you have Carolina, and if Carolinas and you're thinking about getting out of the business and you were to sell it, what would it be worth? And it's an interesting conversation I had with myself about how can you get ready to sell it, even though I know most of you are not going to sell your territory back to your company. It's a good way to think about your approach in your region or in your geography. And some of you might not have territories, but you might have geographical spaces you play in. It might be interesting to hear. Okay, I had a client yesterday who shot a video and sent it to me. And it was a video of him. He was going to do a tour of their facility. And the concept was, it used to be that people would come to our facility and tour it, and then we'd decide to do business or not, and they'd get a chance to see it. But they moved, and he wanted to give people a tour of it, a visual tour, video tour. And I thought it was a good idea, and he actually did the tour, and it was okay. I mean, it was the shots needed to be a little closer and all that, but I'm not a video editor. So, but I said, you need to do a video, you need to do a front where you're looking at the camera saying, hey, Bill Caskey here. I wanted to take you on a little tour of our brand new distribution center. This is a 2-minute tour. If you'd love to come out and see it for yourself, you're welcome to. But in the meantime, I thought you might enjoy, kind of how the hot dog's made behind the scenes. And so he did that, and he shot it with him right up on the camera, as we all do, which is another point I'm going to get to here in a minute. And it was a very dry opening. It didn't feel like he was really talking to anybody. It felt like he was a hostage and had to shoot this video. So, and I told him that I have a good coaching relationship with him. But here are the elements of a video. If you're going to shoot video, and I know many of you are considering it, some of you are already doing it. I've got clients. I insist my clients shoot video because I think it helps your communication style and it helps get your message out there. Number one, I think you need to start with a hook of some kind of a question. Like, have you ever wondered what a true distribution center in the 2020s looks like behind the scenes? Well, my name is Bill Caskey, and today I want to share, it's that kind of thing. So what's the hook? If you ever wondered about this, did you realize that X has happened? It could be some kind of a bold statement. So you got to have a hook at the very beginning. Number two, you've got to have an intro. Who the heck are you? But quick intro. Hey, Bill Caskey here from Smith Jones Company. In this it's just very quick. Number three is a tease of some kind. In this video, in this episode, you'll notice that when you listen to the Bill Caskey podcast, I always start, and Advanced Selling as well. We always start with, in this episode, you're going to hear X, Y, and Z. And that way, if somebody is their first time visiting, they'll at least know, well, in this episode, well, those three things sound familiar. That sound good. Or those three things are not anything like, and you're saving everybody time. So what's your tease for the video? It should be 15 seconds. In this video, I want to share with you something I think is really going to help you close more sales. The fourth element is the backstory. What's the backstory? So we got hook, intro, tease. Now, the teaser means in this video. And four is the backstory. How did you come to like this topic? Why is this topic even on the top of your list? So I might start with, have you ever wondered why your closing rate is less than 20% in most cases? Well, Bill Caskey here, and I've been working with sales teams over the last 30 years to help them improve their closing rate. And in this video, I'm going to share with you three things that I think can really help you. Cool? You know, I got a call from a client last week, and this is a typical call. And the call went something like this. We're just not closing enough business. And the problem with that, so you see, so I went into a little bit of backstory there. Here's what happened. I had an experience. I had an observation. Somebody called me. I had a question from a prospect. Anything like that will work. I think it should be true, but it doesn't have to be exactly true. Like if you had a question from a prospect a year ago, you say, look, I had a question from a prospect the other day. That's cool. I'm not worried about, I'm not going to check out your the other day, whether it's really a year. Now, if you've never had that question before, you could say this: I've never had this question before, but here is a good question that you should be asking people like me when you entertain them and bring them into your office. Something like that. Okay. And then the last thing is the solution. So HITBS, hit BS. The backstory is the B, the S is the solution. So give me something. Give me three tips. Give me three strategies. Give me the tour of the warehouse. I think if you do that, you're going to, number one, it's a framework you can refer to all the time. So you're not, just going with comments here. If you have a comment, I might not be able to get to it here, but I'll get to it later today. You're not constantly reinventing the wheel every time you shoot a video. I would take this and have it with me all the time so that when you got ready to shoot a video, and I want you to be doing video, if not daily, then weekly. I don't do it daily other than this, but I also do some other videos on LinkedIn, but at least a few times a week. Okay, cool. Here's a question for you. I don't know how many have heard that when to establish rapport with another human being, if you're face to face, it's 7% what you say. It's, let's see, 35% your tone, your tonality and kind of your sentiment behind the words, and 55% body language. I've heard that before. Now, whether it's 7, 35, 53, or whatever adds up to 100, or whether it's 30, 30, 30, I prefer to think, well, you know what, the words only 7%. I think the words matter more than that, but I understand. This is a psychologist that's done this study. So let's just say that your words are a third of the rapport and trustworthiness you build. Tone is 33%, and body language is 33%. Here's my question. When you are on Zoom all day doing meetings, the other person rarely do they get to see your body language. I think your tone changes on Zoom too from what it might be if you were sitting at a coffee shop or in a face-to-face meeting. Now, do the words change? Maybe not. Maybe you're saying the same thing and asking the same questions that you would in a face-to-face meeting. But to me, Zoom takes out almost all body language. If your camera is, if your face, if your mug is filling the shot of the camera, and you could be moving your arms all over the place, but they don't see it. So my recommendation is, and we've done it here, and we didn't do it at first, but I've noticed that our response is much better. I've noticed people like our broadcast more if I just move the camera back. So you might think about that when you're doing Zoom calls. Can you move the camera back? Can you pull focus a little bit? Sometimes if you have an iPhone, well, I don't want to get into that, but if you can't pull focus on your camera, you can maybe just move it back, or you can get an iPhone and hook it up that way. But I want them to see body language, see my hands when I'm moving my hands, and I'm not crazy moving of hands, but I always like to say, look, if you're trying to get from point A to point B, you've got a big span in between there. So I can show that instead of just, are you trying to get from point A to point B? So don't ignore the research that says a big percentage of your rapport and trust and communication comes through body language when you're on Zoom or Teams or Meetup or whatever platform you're on. Pull camera, pull focus, as I never say, but I just said, pull focus, get it back a little bit. Now, if you're using your onboard microphone for your audio and you're going to move your computer back to do what I'm asking here, you're going to need a microphone. You're going to need some kind of wired mic that goes in, or wireless, but you're going to need something that goes into the side of the computer. Okay. I hope that was of great value to you. Oh, I had a question yesterday from a client who just joined one of our programs. Several of you have joined my High Achiever program too from this, and I appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to working with some of you. And if you're interested in something like that, it's a monthly tuition. It goes for a year, presumably. And if you want more information, you go to billcaskey.com. At the very top, there's a strip there that talks about how to book a call with me. It takes you to a web page. It has all the Q&A. It has a little bit for me on there. I do a little skit, little dancing skit. And then if you're interested, you can get on the call. But one of my High Achiever members is a really smart person. I mean, all of them are smart. This dude he's in the tech business, and he just has a lot of knowledge and expertise and skill. And he says, I'm one of the things I ask people to do is fill out what's called a foundation document. And a foundation document is me getting to know them. It's really them it's you getting to know yourself, but then by documenting it, you're helping me get to know you and what you want to accomplish. One of the things he wanted to accomplish was be a thought leader in his industry, because he is a thought leader, but he hasn't declared and communicated himself that way. So it's all in here, but it's not out. It's not out in the world. And so I gave him a couple of tips. I'll give you one here. A lot of times people who have a lot of skill and expertise and brilliance are reluctant to deliver it to the world through video or podcasting or whatever, because they think they need more. They think that I'm pretty good at what I do, but man, there's people better than me. And so I've got to get at the top of my game, and I've got to get additional certifications, and I'll shoot video, but I got to go back to Harvard Business School first. No, you don't. I told him, look, you probably know more than most prospects do about the kinds of problems that you solve, about the trends in the industry, because you study it. Whatever you study and you're all into every day, if you're selling commercial real estate, and you're constantly looking at pricing and constantly looking at deal flow and what part of the town or the state or the country the good deals are, you need to get that out. That needs to be a part of what you distribute and communicate. Your customer doesn't spend all day doing that. Your customer spends all day doing the 13,000 things they do. You spend all day in your business, and especially sales professionals. I mean, just think every day you're looking at specs, you're looking at problems, you're talking to people, you're answering questions, you're asking questions, you're talking to technical smart people, talking to the main factory. If you have a factory, you are immersed in the business. Does any of that get out? You ever shoot a video like this and say, hey, I just talked to one of our technical advisors the other day, and I asked him a question and I was really surprised at his answer. Let me tell you what I asked him and what his answer was. And if you're a person that cares about this, I think you're going to be surprised at what he says. See how easy that is? You don't have to, I don't have to have gone to school to learn how to do that. Because remember, we're not going to be sharing technical expertise on these videos. You're going to be sharing the perspective, your perspective on the problem, on what you see, what you hear. In many ways, you're just reporting what you see and hear in the marketplace. So to be a thought leader, don't think you have to have certificates. I don't have any certificates. Hell, I went to school. I graduated with a 2. What was it? It was just over 2. C plus ish. It was just over 2. I'm just not convinced you need to have all this. I think what you need to do is be good on video, like we just talked about. Understand what you're trying to say and who you're trying to say it to, and be super clear about that. And I don't think you need additional degrees. Maybe you do. If you're going to be a surgeon, you probably have to go to med school. I don't think I could be a surgeon. I don't think I'd want to be. Okay, so we are going to continue in April. So next week is the 1st of April. And we'll continue through April doing this every day at 8. If you have a question, a comment, a critique, be nice though. If you're going to critique me, just be kind. Now, if you have a critique, just email me, bcaskey@caskeytraining.com, or put it down here, and I will see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend. I know a lot of you are coming back from spring break the end of this week or leaving. So these 2 weeks, everybody's kind of in a flux, but I've enjoyed today, and I will see you next week for the month of April. Caskey Live at 8. See ya.